Hi everyone, welcome to Lipstick on a Rig. Today we're making this very bright and colorful baby cocoon that is sized for a newborn to 3 months. For this project we're going to be using 6 skeins of size 4 medium weight acrylic yarn. And I'll be using the Big Twist Soft brand. We'll also be using a size F or 5 crochet hook. To get started we're simply going to attach the yarn to our crochet hook and chain 6. And working in the back bumps, which are back here, so this is not part of the V portion of the stitch, but the back bumps, we're going to insert our hook into that first back bump and we're going to place a slip stitch. And we're just going to repeat that, placing 1 slip stitch in each of the back bumps for a total of 6 stitches at the end of our row. And when you get to the end of your row, you're just going to want to chain 1 and then turn your work. From here, we're going to place 1 slip stitch in the back loop of each stitch in our row. And when you get to the end of your row, you're just going to want to chain 1 and then turn your work. And then you just want to repeat that last row, placing 1 slip stitch in the back loop only of each stitch across. And you're going to repeat that over and over and over again until this reaches about 13 inches in length. Once you've gotten this to about 13 inches, what we're going to do is we are going to combine these two edges together. So the first thing I like to do is make sure that the side with my tail is on the opposite side of the side with my hook when I put them on top of each other like this. And also that I've placed my last chain 1 stitch at the end of this row. From here, all we're going to do is just insert our hook under the last full stitch that we made. So this is not the chain 1 stitch, but our actual slip stitch. And then we're going to insert our hook under the entire corresponding stitch on the opposite edge there, just like this. And then we're going to pull through for a slip stitch. And you just want to repeat that for all 6 stitches going up your edge here. And once you've joined the edge together, go ahead and chain 1. And since we're going to be turning this entire project inside out, it's okay if this is a little bit of an eyesore at the moment because it's going to look like this when we turn it inside out at the very end. So for our next row, all we're going to do is place a single crochet at the top of each of these ridges. And since there aren't traditional stitches, you're just going to kind of have to find a loop somewhere on that ridge that lines up. So like I said, your goal is to place 1 single crochet where each of these ridges lie. And what we're going to do is we're going to make sure that we end on an even number, and that includes our chain stitch here. So if you get to the end of your row and you're at an odd number, just go ahead and add an additional stitch. And when you get to the end of your row, it should look something like this. So now all we're going to do is just place a slip stitch where this chain 1 stitch is. But we're not going to yarn over with our current color, we're going to actually grab the next row's color to yarn over with. So to do that, just hold your tail in place and go ahead and pull through all the loops on your crochet hook with your new color. And then I like to hold this tail steady while I place my 2 chain stitches. So go ahead and chain 2. So from here we're going to be placing a bead stitch, and so in order to do that, what we're going to do is we're going to yarn over and then we're going to insert our hook in the stitch behind our chain 2 stitch. So not moving forward but moving backward, and then we're just going to yarn over and pull through a total of 4 times. And then once you have all of those loops on your crochet hook like this, you're just going to yarn over and pull through all of them. And once you have your bead stitch in place, go ahead and chain 1. And now what we're going to do is we're going to be moving forward again, and we're going to skip the next stitch and dive right into the second stitch after our bead stitch. So what we're going to do is we're going to place a double crochet in it. And so from here we're going to place a bead stitch in that skipped stitch. So what you're going to want to do is yarn over and pull through 4 times in it. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then once you have all those loops on your crochet hook, you're just going to yarn over and pull through all of them. Make sure you chain 1 afterward, and then you're just going to repeat that process. So 2 stitches from your bead stitch, you're going to place a double crochet, and then you're going to place that same bead stitch in the skipped stitch. Make sure you chain 1 afterward, and then you're just going to repeat that going all the way around your row until you get back to your first bead stitch here. And once you have all of your bead stitches in place, it should look something like this. So now all we're going to do is join at the top of that first bead stitch here. And we're going to insert our hook up underneath that first stitch, but we're going to yarn over with our next color. Pull through all the loops for a slip stitch. And again, we're just going to make sure that that tail doesn't go anywhere. From here, I'm going to chain 2. And then we're just going to place 1 bead stitch in between these 2 beads right here. So yarn over and insert your hook in between them, and then you're just going to yarn over and pull through 4 times. And again, just pull through all the loops on your crochet hook and then chain 1. And then what we're going to do is we are going to skip over to this next bead here. We're going to place a double crochet at the very top of it. And then again, we're going to place a bead stitch in between these 2 beads here. Don't forget to chain 1. And you're just going to want to repeat that going all the way around your row, placing a double crochet in the top of your next bead, and then placing a bead stitch in between your previous row's beads. And when you get to the end of your row, it should look something like this. So now all we're going to do is place a slip stitch in the top of that first bead stitch, and we're just going to yarn over with our next color. So from here, we're just going to chain 2, and we're just going to repeat that last row exactly. And we're going to keep repeating that last row as we alternate colors. So I went ahead and crocheted about 28 rows of the bead stitch, and it looks something like this. And I was just shooting for about 14 or 15 inches in total length from here to here. So now to finish this off and close up the bottom, all you're going to want to do is place a slip stitch in that first bead stitch just like this. So now you just want to fold your 2 edges together like this. So once you have your edges folded over each other like this, all you're going to want to do is place slip stitches in corresponding stitches like this. So you just want to line up 2 stitches and then place a slip stitch through them, and that sort of sews the 2 edges together. So now go ahead and repeat that for each stitch going along this row here. And once you've sewn your edge together, it should look something like this. So now all you're going to want to do is cut and tie off your yarn. And once you've cut and tied off the last piece of yarn here, I find it helpful to go ahead and tie some of my tails together like this, and then string them up through their light colors. And then we're just going to turn this entire project inside out. And once you've turned it inside out, it should look something like this. And from here, I just like to make sure that all of my tails are hidden, and then I'm done. Please let me know in the comments below if you experienced any issues while you were trying to make this, and I will do my best to help you out. If this video helped you, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel, Lipstick on a Rig. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful, awesome day.